Hey everybody, it's Aluna Michaels, Esoteric Astrologer, talking about the events of February 2022. Okay, so now I always talk to you about Mercury Retrograde, not being worried about it and all of that, and you shouldn't be worried about it. You still should not be worried about it. At the same time, Mercury is the planet of communication, and that can be inward communication about your self-talk, about just your own sense of how you feel within your brain or body is Mercury, and then it's just also communication with other people or the happenings of the day and stuff like that. When it's retrograde, it can slow down and interfere with those communications outside, but also it's a time to reconfigure the way you talk with yourself inside and what your true values are and things like that. And that's why it's always good that Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. It's like continuing to check in, and even just for smaller things like getting things done or tidying up or whatever. And by the way, if you see anything in my house, I'm getting ready for an art festival. I have a lot of stuff over here you can't see, hopefully. But anyways, it's good time to catch up with loose ends and things like that. But when Mercury did go retrograde, like around the 12th of January, is retrograde in Aquarius, and it was conjuncting Saturn when it retrograded. And Saturn is especially, can be heavy on the mind, Mercury, Saturn. And also it's about checklists and about, really, are you speaking your truth? Are you, if you're feeling burdened or unhappy in your life, how, why, what could you do to change it? Sometimes it feels like you can't change it the way that Mercury slows down so much, and Saturn can feel like a weight pressing on you, And then as it's retrograded, it gets away from the Saturn, and now it's going forward. Like, I'm doing this on February 2nd, February 3rd into the 4th, it's going forward. But it's right next to Pluto when it does that. And Pluto's, another heavy hitter that kind of weigh on your mind. And it retrograded back into Capricorn, by the way. But it still is like, people have been feeling really stressed, extra self-critical. And as Mercury's getting ready to change direction, it's feeling that you have more power over negative thinking, and finding ways. I was even just reading about something called constructive worrying, where you see worry as some sort of signal from deep within you that something is off base, or that you're not aligned with your values, or a way to settle your nervous system. My nervous system needs settling, and then being able to create a path for smoother action, But Mercury with Pluto can be a lot of worry. So could the Mercury and Saturn. But it's just been a gunky Mercury retrograde, And the fact that it's going forward is like, yay. Now, a lot of people like to know, well, when is it going to pass Saturn again? When it completes that whole cycle. If you want to know about that, I think Mercury does feel better when it goes forward, but it's nice when it passes that station retrograde point, we say, and that is on February 24th. It conjuncts the Saturn again and then moves into new territory. But it really is a lot about walking your talk and what the values are and your personal values, and are you taking effective actions in your life, or do your beliefs match up with your actions? Or you might say, just a simple thing. I want to lose weight, but then you eat like, tons of fast food every day or junky food, so it's like, all right, so my actions aren't aligned with my goals, And the fact that Venus also was retrograde, it has since gone direct at the end of January, but also in Capricorn, which is related to Saturn. And so there's a lot of Saturn, Capricorn stuff happening here. And Venus is at that part where it's catching up with itself all through February. So there's that theme kind of under there from the Venus and Capricorn about, what do I really love doing? What do I really want to have happen in my life? And is what I'm doing going to get me there? And if not, usually like a small adjustment could get you there, if it was with the eating or whatever, finding out if you could, shop for healthier food or something, or not keep unhealthy food in the house or something simple. But really, when we're talking about these value system things, It's like, what small thing could I do to make a step toward a big goal? It doesn't have to be like the whole thing, just be a small thing, you know? And finding out where you feel most like you're letting yourself down, I guess, and say, what small thing could I do that's more closely aligned with my values? And that could come, or values or future goals. And that can come from meditation, just sitting quiet, talking to a trusted friend, you know, and you can feel you're gaining, excuse me, a lot of traction during February about that. Now, what's also really cool is that I mentioned Venus has gone direct. I'm going to talk about Jupiter, so I said that. So Venus has gone direct at the end of January in Capricorn. And then Mars also went into Capricorn. So, and Mars and Venus are starting to travel together. And just that is, Mars is very invigorated. You know, Mars is like, let's take the action, and it's courageous. And again, it's in Capricorn, like, what are the goals? And we can do it. And this is how, slow, steady steps, but let's do it, you know? And the Venus in Capricorn is like, wow, I can really have my dream, you know? And so there's, instead of sometimes Jupiter and, because, so sorry I keep saying Jupiter, that Venus can be kind of like dreaming about it, where Mars is like, we're doing it. Now, the Jupiter part. Jupiter is in Pisces now, making a really great angle. I'm doing this, a 60-degree angle, to both the Venus and Mars. And you know, Mars and Venus are tracking together all month, and then the Jupiter's tracking with them. So Jupiter is, again, makes things easy. It feels like, you know, it's very optimistic about, I could have my needs met, or I could do that and things would go my way, or I do have personal agency here, and it's pretty easy once I do that, you know? And it creates a lot of hopefulness, and it's the sense of ease. So sometimes Jupiter and Venus could be kind of lazy, like, it'll happen. But that Mars is in there like, yeah, like, how are we going to do it? We're doing it, you know? So even having a buddy that is as inspired as you are to make certain changes, or if you're going to be meditating every day, or doing your yoga, or eating leafy greens, or, you know, looking for a new job, or whatever it is, you know, having somebody who you can keep each other encouraged through that, you know, be each other's Mars, yay, you know. So that's just a really fun time too, through the whole month, and it can really help relationships, which is kind of nice with the Valentine's Day coming up, which sometimes is like, just being an astrologer for so long, a lot of people have issues during Valentine's time, so many expectations on relationships and stuff, but this one is actually really nice, you know, this Valentine's Day with the Venus and Mars and Jupiter being aligned. It's like, just feels like, you know, relationships are okay, and it's kind of easy, and we can make this happen, and smooths out the problem. So it's really a nice breakthrough after this heavy Mercury retrograde, you know. And but I would say again, I think I said this last month too, is those small steps. What small steps are you totally willing to do every day, so you're not disappointed you didn't do all this stuff? You at least did this thing, and then if you want to put more on top of that little thing, okay, you know. But you can start to see traction and results, you know, this month. So that's good. That may or may not be everything I have to say to you. How long have I been doing this for? Oh, 8 minutes. 9 minutes. It's pretty short for me. Let's see about anything else here. Let's see. Looking at the moons and everything. To just have a, you know, I think because we just had the new moon, again, I'm doing this on the 2nd, we just had the new moon on the 1st, and it was pretty close to Saturn. That's actually really cool too, because, you know, Saturn can be this taskmaster or feel heavy. I think Saturn only feels heavy when you feel like you're not living up to your standards or something like that. But again, Mars is that go-getter. New moons are like that too. And so when you have Saturn there, sometimes it can be hesitating getting off the ground, but a lot of times with the moon, a new moon with the Saturn, is you'll actually follow through beyond a few weeks, beyond a month. It really is, I want to start something that really matters to me, Saturn, you know, and then that's carried over by the idea of the Jupiter working with Mars and Venus throughout the month. So it's a good time, even though it's past the new moon, set your goal for the month and really gentle with yourself and being able to reward yourself with something that's truly nourishing, as opposed to the junk food example, so that you feel the sweetness of life and you're rewarding yourself and praising yourself can really reinforce that Mars and Jupiter and Venus, like, you're getting that, again, positive traction and everything. So, okay, I'll keep it short today and this month. But by the time you've watched this, you've made it through this cuckoo Mercury retrograde, and praise yourself for that, and really see the things that came up that have sort of nagged at you. It's like, okay, this is an important thing my soul is telling me, my inner self is telling me. And what could I do to make one small change that starts to shift, because if you think about a ship just changing a little bit of its angle, it's going in a very different direction over here, further out it goes. So just that one little change can really take you in a new direction. And so just see that, not just to shush the inner thoughts if you've been kind of tormented a little bit the past month, but say, what's this telling me? It's obviously a very important message. Part of me is trying to get through to me. And so what small thing could I do instead of feeling overwhelmed, like, oh, this thing always is the problem and I'll never fix it. It's like, what tiny thing could I do and be consistent about it? And then it's like, oh, you really see it. I'm making progress. And, like I said, that Jupiter, Mars, Venus effect. So, okay, well, have a great month. Oh, and I forgot to say thank you guys at Know Thyself Podcast. Yay, thank you for sending me such lovely people. And if you want to get a session from me, alunamichaels.com, or you can text me at 248-583-1663. And yeah, my book is on Amazon, The Spiritual Gifts of the 12 Astrological Signs. That's on Kindle. And you can get a PDF from me if you need to do that. Okay, bye for now. Have a great month.